Welcome to Use Your Words podcast, where every time we have a serious conversation, all three of us are always fully engaged and pay attention.
Summer.
And Josh is looking around like,
the summer
what's
vibe.
going on?
I blinked out there for a second. Keep talking. I'll catch up.
You blinked out for a second. Great. Do you remember blinking out for a second last time, Josh?
That was 2 times ago.
I'm sorry, I blinked out again. What was the intro?
Yeah, exactly.
Funny joke.
Yeah, funny joke. And this is why we do not give Brewer the ability to post funny comments anywhere.
What?
What are you talking about?
I
am the funny comments.
What? What?
Sure, you're the funny. We'll go
How
with
does
that.
this work?
What do you mean, how does this work? You talk into a microphone, it records audio, and life goes on.
Aaron, you sound like a total drunk.
What is going on with
This
you?
is how I deal with problems.
This is how you
Okay.
deal with problems? What problems are you dealing with?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, if you're dealing with problems that way, and that's how you're acting, then there must be a problem that you're dealing with. So therefore, what problems are you dealing with right now?
I don't know. My head hurts.
Your head hurts?
So
Drink more water.
drink.
Drink more water, sir. Drink more water.
Why does your head hurt?
I don't know. I haven't drank
Liquor yet today? Yeah, that's why.
Wow.
You know, maybe that's it. Maybe that's.
Get
I
some-
just gotta go home and
Get some good old Captain Morgan.
have a nice glass of whiskey and I'll be better.
I'm glad Josh is the one calling you drunk this time.
I was surprised. He usually gets like a drink or something when we go to the movie theater. And he just went straight to the movie. And I go,
No drinks for me.
Aaron. And Noah looks at me and goes, why do you need him? I was like, I didn't know if he wanted to get a drink. And Noah goes, he'd get it if he wanted it. I was like, I know. That's the weird part. He's not getting
That's
it.
the weird part.
Josh isn't used to drinking alone.
Wait, did you get a drink?
No.
Oh, okay. I didn't think so.
Well, if he did, I'm sure Amy would come over here and slap him or something.
That's right. I drink alone all the time.
Yeah, that might be a sign of some problems, sir.
No, it's not. I just enjoy a good. I don't know.
A good what?
I don't know. I don't remember the last thing I drank.
All right.
Actually, yeah, I do. I had a Long Island at Applebee's. Probably Friday. Yeah.
Okay, Rebecca Black.
I was about to go into singing that, but no.
Would you like to sing something else instead?
What else am I singing?
Here's Aaron's word of the week.
Yay.
This one shouldn't be too bad for you.
Meh. That's what you not always say.
No, not always say. But this one is just weird.
Great.
The word, it's actually a little, it's 2 words. Doodle sack.
What? Doodle sack.
Yeah.
I
What is a doodle sack?
don't know. I like was it collywobbles?
Yeah.
I like that one.
Okay, but what's a doodle sack?
Doodle sack. Is it a sack that you hold your coloring utensils in that you doodle with?
That's a fair guess.
Yeah, that's my guess.
That's a fair
Sticking
guess.
to it.
Doodle sack is an old English word for bagpipe.
Oh, that's even cooler.
So there you go. Now, when you're asked, do you ever play the doodle sack?
Do you have
You can go,
I gotta get
no,
one.
I do not.
Now I want to get one just to call it that.
You're going to get a bagpipe. Your poor parents already.
Yeah.
They have to deal with the drums and everything else. And then,
Oh, they don't have to deal with anything anymore.
Why
I
is
don't
that?
play drums at home anymore.
oh, lucky them.
Yeah. They actually, well, at least what they tell me, they miss it.
Sure. Like a kidnapped person misses their kidnapper.
I would.
That's
What if they gave you candy?
That's called Stockholm syndrome.
You mean, what if the security finds your kid wandering around and gives them candy to pick them up and take them somewhere until they find you.
What?
You mean life vest security?
Yes. I thought that was so counterintuitive.
That's creepy.
Yeah, but the kids will go to candy, so.
Yeah, now they're going to go to candy to strangers.
Yeah.
you need to find your mom? I'll help you. Come get some candy.
Whatever. We didn't lose Aaron too many times, so. He only went and got the free candy once or twice.
No, that wasn't this weekend. That was last weekend.
You don't remember last weekend?
Yeah.
Mr. Johnson,
What?
this is one of your top 3 choices. So why don't you go ahead and kick us off, sir?
Oh, well, yes, we kind of discussed earlier. Yeah. So today I want to talk about how do you deal with your problems? Talk about coping. What's good? What's bad? I like to drink a lot when I'm upset. I never realized how many weird, different ways there were to deal with. I mean, I guess it doesn't necessarily. I mean, it's normally with problems, isn't it?
Well, it could be. Okay, so when you're trying to cope with something, it's probably a difficulty, a problem. So yes usually a problem. Normally it's going to come up in times of, I don't know, stress or annoyance.
What is that?
Stress. Yeah. Let's see here. When you got like 90 plus hours of work to do in, the next 2 hours.
When you think of stress, just look at Paul and look at all these gray hairs starting to come in. That's called stress.
That's called stress.
No, I call this one brewer and brewer and brewer and brewer. Notice that I have renamed them all from Johnson.
Wow. Well, that's not how it works because it was put on your head from Johnson. You can't rename it to me.
I renamed them. I followed
the new ones that come in. You can rename as me.
This is a free country.
Okay.
You can do.
He's left the ones on his back for you.
Coping with the whole stressful situations or brewer in general. So, brewer, you're up first.
I am?
Wait,
Yep.
why is he up? What? Well, okay. You're up
Why
first.
am I always up first?
Because I picked and I said first. And
Because
anyways,
his mom likes you.
yeah, there's that too. Mr. Brewer, what are some coping mechanisms that you utilize, whether they be healthy or not? Don't filter them out yet.
we don't filter them out.
Well, yeah. In other words, don't go, well, I use this method and don't only say your healthy coping mechanisms.
Oh, well, I will play video games. I will pick up the guitar.
You haven't been stressed in a while then.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah, the big one is just playing video games. or watching stuff on YouTube.
Well, then that could happen a lot.
Yeah.
That happens a lot.
You watch a lot of YouTube.
I do.
YouTube's fun, though. Ish.
Although now it's just getting as annoying as TV is.
True.
I feel like it's almost becoming more annoying. I don't know. Just all these advertisements. It's like,
Oh,
No, I don't see
ads do
ads. So
suck.
any other methods that you use for coping, sir?
oh, taking the bike out.
Mm.
Little motorcycle ride.
Yeah, I'm
I haven't done
surprised.
that. I haven't done that in a long time. But I used to hop on it and just go for a quick, 30-minute ride. Windshield off, warm air hitting me.
Mm.
Just kind of puts me in my own little world.
That does sound nice,
Mm-hmm.
especially right now.
Yeah.
Mm.
Especially right now?
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to ride today.
Just be so relaxing.
It is. It really is. And that's one of the reasons why I don't want to sell it is because I know, you get a lot of people who are dying on bikes, but it's like, I don't know. It's just, I feel like for a while I have it, the reward is just so much better.
Ride or die.
Exactly.
Or you can ride and die.
That's my goal.
Well, apparently there's a third option.
What?
I don't know what to call it, but Aaron has ridden and he has not died, but he's come close to dying.
It's called getting in accidents.
Ride
Something with
or
risk.
survive.
Ride or, but I'm not going to survive.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right.
I'm not gonna die.
Because that implies then if you say ride or survive, that's like, oh, if you go riding, you're going to die.
That's
Well,
the plan.
I mean, yeah. Probability's there.
Anyways,
But no, riding a motorcycle, playing guitar, playing video games, watching YouTube.
Lovely.
Which one have you employed most recently?
YouTube.
Yeah, I say YouTube is more of one that's like a last resort. I say guitar. I picked up the guitar yesterday.
Wow.
Was it yesterday?
I don't remember. Yesterday was
No, it was
Saturday.
2 days ago. Thursday night.
3 days ago.
Yeah. I had dusted off a little bit.
I had to completely retune the guitar because I untuned it so it wouldn't warp the neck.
You're one of those guys.
I haven't touched it in over a month and a half.
Yeah.
How do you think a lot of my guitars feel?
Oh, jeez.
You don't just walk by them and put your hand on them every
Well, I
night?
mean, I guess I
Say a prayer.
Give them a strum as I walk by.
No. Okay.
After what happened to the bass, I've learned that if I'm not going to touch it for a while, I'm going to detune it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, Aaron. What about you?
Well, what do? Motorcycle rides, I suppose. If I do, I would say listen to music, but I listen to music all the time.
So that's more of your last resort. That's what I would say YouTube is for me.
I guess. I don't know. Also, just depends on the mood. I guess it could depend on what I listen to. What else is there? Play guitar, drums, not so much. Mainly because I just don't have drums set up at home to play. Guess you could say play games or something like that. Probably not so much. Hang out with friends. That can be one. Sleep. That can be one.
Mm-hmm.
Or take naps. Or you could say eating could be one. But I don't really eat when I get upset.
What about if you get bored or get emotional? Do you eat?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
Not really. Which I don't. Oh, I thought you were starting to stare at my gut. I was like, well, okay then.
I think that's what he was doing.
Okay. Oh, he was.
Yeah, he was.
Otherwise, well, I was gonna read. I looked up a list of like different coping things, and one was exercising. So I was gonna say that, but we'd all know that's a lie. Oh no, this makes me nervous.
Oh, go on.
No, not that.
What's the not that?
It's just not that.
What is not that? Define that. Let me ask this. Can you say it in a PG-13 friendly way?
Oh no, yeah, drink.
Oh, okay.
Another one. Oh, well, then there's that one. Making it rain.
Brewer. What? You're the one who suggested it to him. You're like, yeah, I know.
But other than that, I guess one that's, I try to do, but I don't do enough. Which would be one, read my Bible.
Yeah.
And gosh, I feel like quoting that one song we used to do in youth group. I'll read my Bible and pray.
It's been a minute since we've done that, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. But no, like that, but that's what it would be. It'd either just like, spending time talking with God, well, with what's going on, reading, and I don't know, listening to, I guess that comes back into like, what do you listen to for music and stuff?
Yep.
So I think that's all of them. I don't know. I like walking. Well, I used to like walking a lot. I should get back into walking. Walking is fun, especially in the rain. And then storms.
Fair enough. Okay. What's the one you've employed most recently?
Oof. What am I coping with though recently? I don't know.
It doesn't have to be like today. Like it could have been like a month ago.
I'd probably say more. That would be more so the whole like just praying and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah. That's mine. What was it?
No, I'll get to mine in a second here.
Okay.
What are you like? Oh, okay.
Why am I being recorded? Wait, I'm being recorded on this anyway.
Yeah.
Why does it matter?
Okay. Because this came to mind while you were talking here. So, and I'll answer this as well, obviously. But we'll go back to Brewer to start with.
What?
This question I have.
Uh-oh.
We'll go back to Brewer to start with, and then obviously I'll hit it when I answer my stuff here. Was there... So that's your coping mechanism list now,
Yeah.
A few years ago, was it any different? Was it the same a few years ago, and has it changed, gotten, more refined? Was there things that maybe at some point, and I'm not saying like a year ago, I'm saying this could have been many years ago, were there things on there that maybe weren't healthy coping mechanisms that you've identified and pulled out of that list over time?
I know exactly why you came back to me.
Why am I coming back to you? Why? Why am I exactly coming back to you?
Oh, wait, are you saying that?
No.
Like, you know, or are you?
No, no. I don't. Someone's guilty.
Remember that 93 Camaro I had? That was a coping mechanism, as well as an addiction, I would say, too. Working on it.
Okay.
You know, like I had to fix everything in a spot. My language, my thoughts, everything was there. So
the Camaro.
So over time, you've kind of refined your coping mechanism list to be a little bit healthier.
Yeah, I just completely snipped it out, sold it. Bye.
All right.
Deuces.
Mr. Johnson?
I'll say I guess food definitely was one at one point. Mainly when I had my motorcycle accident. After that, I was just like, I just want food. I want to treat myself and eat yummy stuff and relax because I don't want to strain my arms or anything or my shoulder. Gotta take it easy.
Yep.
But I don't know. I'd say a lot of them are still, most of them were still the same. The only other one that wasn't really in there was having a drink.
Okay. So now
I was smoking a cigar. Duh. That one.
I was actually surprised I didn't show up on your list.
Yeah.
So I was like,
It's been so long since I've had one.
So you didn't really have anything really when you were younger that you've kind of chopped off the block.
Oh, wow. I totally forgot about this one. Isolation.
Yes.
That's not a good one.
In small doses, it can be useful.
But yeah.
If you're isolating yourself to the point of where you're just saying screw it all to all other social interactions, not because so when we were at Life Fest, what was it, Saturday morning, whatever, there wasn't anything going on. Nothing really started till afternoon.
Oh,
and and I just need to recharge my social battery. And so I went back to my tent. I woke up at 6, whatever, with the sun, went up, said hi to Andy, used the restroom, went back to my tent. And, I kind of laid down, fell asleep, was listening to podcasts, fell asleep, wake up, do whatever, just kind of isolating myself a little bit to recharge myself, because I was like, I know I need this. Otherwise, I am going to yell at someone.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I know. Not the healthiest thing I know. But, I knew that's where I was at. So I was like, I need to pull back for a second, do this, and then I'll be okay. But all of a sudden I got messages from Josh. Where are you? I had Andy and his son at my tent. Just making sure you're alive. I'm like, yeah, I'm still here. Just relaxing. Nothing going on. Just relaxing, So once in a while, just to recharge your own batteries, that's fine. But yeah, if you're every day saying, yeah, I'm just going to isolate myself and not interact or talk to anyone.
I don't want to do anything with you. I just want to be by myself.
Yep. And that gets to be very, very dangerous.
Man. Yeah.
Because if you're isolating yourself, well, then you're not, obviously, this is where Captain Obvious appears. You're not interacting with anyone since you're isolating yourself. But because you're isolating yourself as well, if there's something going on, no one knows that something's going on.
Because you won't talk to them about it.
Yeah. Or they can't see you to be like, hey, you know what? You look like you haven't showered in a month.
Ooh, ew. Gross. I at least take a shower if I isolate myself from people.
Yeah, but there are people that I've chatted with that they might use isolation to cope with their depression or something like that. They will go for weeks at a time without a shower.
Oh, wow.
They'll just lie in bed and
do absolutely nothing.
Some will get up to use a restroom.
I hope so.
I said some will not. That's how. Yeah, and they don't respond to messages, nothing. They're just full on dark room. Do not see me. Do not talk to me. Bye. So that's an extreme version of the isolation where you can do that. And sometimes you can isolate yourself in public where you're around people necessarily, but you're not interacting. You're physically there, but mentally you've blacked out and checked out. So yeah, isolation can be a very unhealthy way to cope with things. And then also it's one of those things where you're not actually working to resolve whatever that issue is.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're isolating yourself, well, that problem's not being taken care of. Just sitting there at time is not going to necessarily resolve all problems. Some problems, they take action to resolve, not just time.
But time heals all wounds.
Yeah, but you got to take action first to create the wound.
Yeah. Well, what if it already happened?
So sometimes that's not true that time heals it just by default. Sometimes you actually got to put some work in to heal it.
Yep.
And there's a reason why you have to go to the hospital and get stitches sometimes. Because if you don't, you're going to have a scar or it's going to heal very, 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 very slowly. So
still heals. But no, I'm following you.
Okay. One of these days, what we're going to do is we're going to flail your skin off of we're just going to skin your arm. So you have no skin left on your arm and see how long that takes to heal.
Oof.
I think you'd want to go to a doctor at that point, wouldn't you?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Which is random. Apparently, tearing your skin is better than cutting through it for doctors. It apparently heals better. That's what I heard. I haven't looked into it. I don't know if that's true, but...
Was this from your conspiracy coworker?
No.
Okay. I was going to say, never heard of this one.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Really, it makes sense. I honestly have no idea. I'm just like,
But
any other unhealthy ones that you have employed? Either of you?
Oh, video gaming's an unhealthy one because I'll sit there, strapped to the screen for hours.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
But sometimes when you're coping with something, sometimes that's the best thing to do.
What, play video games?
Well, no, like...
distract your mind.
Distract yourself for hours.
Well, yeah, depending on what's going on.
Yeah. Obviously, that's not the case all the time. Sometimes you need to take care of the issue. It's like...
But I think one of the things that makes coping a bad thing is because it's your way of escape. It distracts your mind from something else, whether or not coping might be a positive thing. Let's say you've just been real busy lately and you just want some alone time, like Paul was saying, like he was just resting in his tent. That's not necessarily bad, but where any type of coping can be bad is when you allow yourself to be completely submersed in something, I think. And then you lose track of time, or you allow yourself to be in a place longer than you should where it makes you less productive throughout your day.
I'm going to have to say this. That is sometimes fine if you get lost like that. Just like the video game thing. If you were doing like the video game thing of you're using that to cope because you were quote unquote bored, then that's an issue because, well, it's easy to get bored for some people. But if you're using it to cope because I either cope by playing a video game or I'm going to go cut my wrist, the video game, go for it all day long.
Oh, yeah. And that's certainly, yes.
So when I did my inpatient, one of the things that was taught was when you're in a quote unquote crisis moment. So a crisis moment is any time that you feel like you're going to injure yourself in any sort of way. At that point, it doesn't matter what you do. The only one that they say do not do is isolation, because the isolation one just never is good long term. But beyond that, they're like, play video games all day if that's what it takes, because that's what's going to get you through and survive through that quote unquote crisis moment. So so that's why I said the video game one. I don't know if I'd label that unhealthy. Now, if you would say, my primary coping mechanism is just drink. Well, then, yes, that one is unhealthy, period. Doesn't matter if you doing that to keep yourself from hurting yourself or something.
Mm-hmm.
What's got you both so engrossed in your web browsers?
I'm looking at a bunch of different ways to cope with stuff, and I'm just checking off the ones that I've never heard before.
Yeah, what are those?
Starting with the first one, put on fake tattoos.
Interesting.
Cover yourself. Well, and I get this one, but I guess I've never heard of it. Cover yourself with Band-Aids where you or where you want to cut,
Okay.
try some aromatherapy. Light a candle, lotion, or room spray. Well, don't light room spray.
Yep.
That'd be bad.
Spray the room with such spray. I mean, with propane.
Plan your dream room.
Yep.
Where's another? Oh. Hunt for your perfect home or car online.
Oh, you do that a lot. Especially home.
Then the last one I checked off was try to make as many words out of your full name as possible.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
And that's so far up to number 71 out of 99.
Yeah. And to be fair, except for the name one, I heard about all of those in outpatient and inpatient treatment. Except for the name one. The name one I've never heard of. But that might be for someone who likes like word games and that.
True. Say because one of them was play Scrabble.
Yeah.
Scrabble?
Yeah, just play a game. Play something to get your mind off of whatever's going on. That's what it is. What about you, Mr. Brewer? What got you so engrossed over there?
Well, I was looking up some things too. But apparently I can't find quality information like you. So I'm just kind of like,
what do you mean you can't find quality information?
I don't know. I feel like you get like government statistics and stuff like that. Yeah. Like,
just go
I feel
out.
like he has access to the Library of Congress.
I don't, but if I did, trust me, you would know. Anyways, just go on with what you found. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be a peer-reviewed journal, but don't make it so like a fifth grader wrote it. But so I'll go on with my answers while you continue doing your search stuff with coping mechanisms now and then past, and if there's any unhealthy ones. Coping mechanisms now, video games. That's probably one of the top ones. Sleep, because I like my sleep. Spending time with the dog. Good old Porthos, especially as he's getting older, and I'll probably only have him for, I don't know if he'll make it to the end of the year. So, just spending time with the dog, listening to things to learn. So whether that be a podcast, TED Talk, something on Pluralsight. So I'm learning something, reading a book. Recently, and this sounds boring as all heck, I've been reading about Linux Plus implementation so I can take an exam on that. So, yeah.
What?
Exactly. Boring, nerdy tech stuff, participating on forums with our people and writing code. Those are all things that I do. Before I went to the hospital, I would have to definitely have added on drinking, and in a very unhealthy way. It was very much used to numb the brain out at times. And now I enjoy a drink here and there, but nowhere near what it used to be, and that's fine. And that's good. When I was younger as a teen, I'm trying to think if there's anything added to that list no, nothing really crazy added to the list. Now, that being said, hello, Mother Dearest. I hope you're not listening to this. Let's be frank and honest here. When I was a younger teen, younger to older teen, not younger teen, pornography and that was also a coping mechanism. It was for boredom in that because, and it wasn't like, it was because, I'm bored. So what am I going to do with this? Exactly. Just search. And now it's gotten worse, Oh, that sounded bad. That sounded bad. No, it's gotten worse for like teens and that now, the access to it, but.
Oh, yeah. It's anywhere and everywhere.
Yep.
Always available. And it's free.
Yeah.
That's a good sell for it.
So I would have to say that, back in the younger days, that would have been a coping mechanism for boredom and other things. But, thankfully, that has kind of fallen away to the wayside. But video games, even back then, those were always kind of sticking around, and they still stick around to this day. Although I find myself wanting to play video games, and then I boot up the game, and I'm like, I'm bored. I'm like,
They just don't make games like they used to.
Yeah. Well, my style of games is very unique that I like. So I like turn-based RPGs, which they definitely don't make those anymore.
To what?
Yeah, I know.
Turn-based?
Uh-huh. Like, and you might not have ever played this game, Shining Force 2 on the Genesis. Great.
Nope.
Great strategy turn-based games. Just, yeah, they don't make games like that anymore. Makes me sad because those are the ones I like. I think they make some on mobile, but guess what they all have? In-app purchases, which drives me nuts. Oh, you want this hero? Then, combine these 50 other heroes. Oh, to get those 50 other ones, you have to buy them all for money. Like, no.
Pay to play.
I'm not doing that.
Ugh, that is irritating.
Not doing that.
Whatever makes $1.
Yeah. So Mr. Brewer, what'd your research find?
Oh, I stopped researching.
Why'd you stop researching?
I don't know.
Is that your coping mechanism?
Just give up. I mean, that is one.
That is a coping mechanism, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just listening. Aaron gave me a headache now.
I already have I wish I could give you mine.
Oh, no, I have a headache.
Good. Well, I'm trying to give you mine.
Okay. Then let's continue on your headache-ness.
You know what you can do? Apparently, another option is you smile at 5 people.
There is a reason behind that as well. Oh, you just smiled at 2 people. Sorry. You need to find 3 more people on the street. So the reason behind that, though, is that there's some studies showing that if you force yourself to smile, eventually it's going to coerce your own emotions into making you want to actually smile for real.
Interesting.
So that's why they do that.
So you can put your fake face on, and then you'll just learn to become fake.
Well, no, because eventually that fake face is going to become real.
You can be really fake.
According to the studies, eventually that is going to change your mindset. Now, that's not going to be a permanent change, but temporarily, that might be enough to get you to cope through whatever you're dealing with at that time.
Oh.
So I have a question for you, Mr. Johnson. I'm going to make you go first instead of Brewer this time.
Why do I? Okay, what?
What makes okay, let's take one of your coping mechanisms. Pick one.
Cigar.
Okay. What takes your coping mechanism, something that you like, smoking a cigar, where is the line where it crosses over into an unhealthy coping mechanism? Something that by default necessarily isn't unhealthy. What makes it what makes a good coping mechanism bad?
Abuse. Do it too much. So you could argue that smoking a cigar would just be bad from the get-go because it's just not good for your body.
Okay, so let's ignore that argument for now, okay? About the smoking portion.
Yeah.
Because I'm just taking anyone like isolation, playing video games, in this case, smoking cigars, listening to music.
I mean, I guess, I would say...
What takes it from being a healthy coping mechanism to unhealthy?
When you start to prioritize it and just want to start doing it more and more and more, and then cutting other things out of your life because you just enjoy doing that. That would be one thing for me, I suppose. Let's say you guys want to go hang out, have a game night. Be like, no, I just want to go smoke a cigar. Maybe a couple of them. And then you start paying a lot of money because some of them can be really expensive. And I like to smoke the nice cigars, so I like...
Just like you like nice hotel rooms.
Yes.
Take showers.
Walk-in showers, to be specific.
Brewer, same question to you. I thought you were listening and paying attention.
I was.
We always listen to
Don't give
unhealthy coping mechanisms?
No.
Don't give him the question.
Oh,
Let him figure it out. What was the question?
That's all he was talking about. When does a coping mechanism becomes unhealthy? So that's what you were talking about.
Correct.
Yes.
It's unhealthy coping mechanism.
Well,
it's not an unhealthy one.
When does a healthy one become unhealthy? When does playing guitar become an unhealthy coping mechanism?
When you start, pretty much at that point, it becomes an addiction. When something becomes unhealthy, it's like you use it for more than just a simple little, I'll do this. If you allow it to alter your activities and you start surrounding your evenings around stuff, I mean, that's practically an addiction. I mean, anything can become an addiction to somebody.
Oh, yeah, anything can become addiction. Okay, so what if then,
So
it doesn't necessarily have to be addiction based only. So what if instead of, okay, for like me, for example, right? If I started, let's say I assumed I played guitar, which I don't.
Yeah, you do.
I play bass guitar, not guitar.
Same thing.
Different.
Just less strings.
But what I was going to say is, so like for me, instead of taking my meds and going to therapy treatment and that, if I just use guitar instead, that would be one way where it would go unhealthy. It's not so much an addiction at that point. It's just I'm using it in place of
something else.
Proper protocols for treatment.
Mm-hmm.
That does make sense.
So that's where I would say where a healthy coping mechanism goes unhealthy. The obvious ones about, drinking or food, or cigars, those are cigars. That's a little harder to do because that's not going to give you the immediate thing with like drinking. It's going to be the immediate
buzz and
drunkenness. Eating is going to be the immediate stomach full. And if you're diabetic, your sugar is going up through the roof, So I love Aaron's facial response to that one. So that's when it becomes unhealthy, when you shouldn't be doing set activity, or like for me, one of my meds, alcohol counteracts that med. If one of my coping mechanisms was to have a couple drinks, but yet I know that it's going to counteract my meds, that becomes all of a sudden an unhealthy mechanism in that regard.
Yeah, if you drink.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying
more than what's recommended.
Right. So my med, I can have one drink a week. If all of a sudden I was like, no, I'm going to have 2 tonight.
Don't be dangerous.
And I'm going to counteract my meds, and that's a bad coping mechanism, period, at that point. So
So does drinking have to be a bad coping mechanism? I mean, I guess it's generally associated with a bad outcome or...
Well, here's why I say drinking is a bad coping mechanism, period. I know you're giving me a look like, what? I don't agree with you. Okay, so here's why I say it. Usually, I'm not, obviously this isn't 100% across the board, but usually when you're drinking, one of 2 things is happening. One, maybe you're just out with friends for dinner, like we are on Wednesday night. Okay. I'm out. I was like, I'll have a drink since I'm being social in that. But if you're using drinking as a coping mechanism, which is different than being social, then you're probably using it to kind of numb the brain or maybe fog up the memory or just escape from your problems for a little bit.
Isn't that what coping in any way does?
Yes, it does. But there's a couple big things here. When you're trying to escape from a problem, just trying to weather through it, let's say, whatever the issue is, drinking, unlike everything else, like video games, playing guitar, smoking a cigar, those things are not depressive in nature to your brain. Alcohol is a depressive drink. It slows your brain down. When I say depressive, I'm not like saying depressive like sad or blues. No, I'm saying depressive slows your brain down, slows your reactions down, and clouds your thinking. A cigar doesn't do that unless it's laced with something. Playing video games doesn't do that. Playing guitar doesn't do that. In those cases, playing guitar is probably mentally stimulating. It allows you to forget those issues without a chemical induction. I would argue, even if let's assume it's legal, right? Using marijuana, would be an unhealthy coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Or any other hard drug, that alters your brain state.
Acid.
Anything like that. Anything that alters how you're thinking.
Is not good.
That's not a healthy coping mechanism. Now, altering the way you're thinking through meditation, prayer, reading a book, listening to music, going for a walk, playing guitar, killing things in a video game.
Okay. That took a turn.
I was checking to see if you were paying attention.
Oh, I'm paying attention.
Those are all good ways to alter how your brain's thinking, because you're not using chemicals to force yourself to forget temporarily. You're using other activities to divert how you're thinking about it. Yes, those problems are still going to be there when you get done playing your video game. When you turn off your console, that issue is still going to be there. But you actually have a chance to work on it, as opposed to if you're kind of drunk, well, you're out for a while. It's how you sober up.
Yeah. So for me, I guess depending on what the situation is, the desire of drinking would change.
Mm-hmm.
As if I'm just getting off of a day of work that's been a lot more, I guess, rough than usual, which, I mean, it's never really that bad anyways.
Right.
Like, one thing I'd like to do is either have just a cold beer or just have a little small glass of some whiskey or something like that and just sit down, sip on it, and relax.
But is that really coping? Are you trying to get through an issue?
No.
That's more, it sounds like relaxation after you get home.
Yeah, it is.
See, and that's the difference.
That is the difference.
You're not coming home and I need a way to cope with.
Oh, tomorrow's going to be really hectic.
Oh, no. I'm thinking like, let's say this. You get a letter in the mail saying your retirement, your savings, your bank, and your investment accounts are all overdrawn.
Oof.
Now, you could either attack it head on and call and get all this sorted out because probably you've been hacked or something, right? Or you could pour yourself a drink and be like, I'm just going to drink this problem away and not deal with it.
Yeah, because that doesn't never work.
Because that's just kicking the problem down the road.
Yeah. You're still going to have to face it.
Yep. Now, if you called the bank and you called everyone and you're just kind of like waiting for a response back from them, you've done everything you can do at this point, and I'm not saying the drink thing, but if you'd like go and play guitar, you're taking your mind off of it for a little bit, but you've done everything you can up until that point.
So then what if I have just pour myself a nice little glass after that and just sip on one glass of whiskey?
If you're trying to do that to maybe relax and not cope with the issue, okay, I get it. You're not trying to get yourself blackout drunk.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what I was going to say.
You're not going towards the steel toe boots.
Oh.
Or the toilet.
Ooh, yeah. That was, shoot. But yeah, I was going to say, because then normally, if there was a situation, the temptation of, if it was a situation where I was either just really sad or something like that, I guess the temptation would be more towards, let's drink till you feel something. But
or what if you're drinking to not feel it?
Well, you feel tingles, so you don't really.
Okay, let me ask this. I'm going to give you a hypothetical.
Comfortably numb.
That's where I was going with. What if you feel that comfortably numb? Because, okay, I'm giving you a bad scenario here. Okay.
Uh-oh.
You go home tonight and your mother has passed away.
Oh my goodness.
That's what I said. I'm giving you a bad scenario. Okay. Yeah. I don't wish that on you at all.
No, I know.
Okay. I hope not. If that happens and after you take care of all the chaos, with your dad, arranging all this stuff, and you sit down to drink in order to get rid of that emotional pain, that's a really bad coping mechanism.
Yeah, that is.
Now, if you're sitting down with your dad to have a drink and talk and, work through things, you're not so much using the drink as the coping mechanism then. You're maybe a social lubricant, as they say. It's you and your dad are trying to get through this together. And you're not using the alcohol as a coping mechanism. You're using the social bonding between you two and figuring out things as that coping mechanism. The alcohol just happens to be there, but it's not the mechanism. It's part of.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I follow. That does make sense.
Yeah. Because if you're using, again, alcohol, marijuana, LSD, anything to try to numb away that emotional pain, because you're like, maybe you feel numb emotionally from what's happened, because sometimes that happens with tragedies, where emotionally you feel numb and you're like, I just want to feel something. That's very unhealthy. And that's where I was, a couple weeks before going into the hospital. It was like my brain was just so emotionally numb. I was like, just give me the alcohol so maybe I will feel something. I was tired of feeling just,
gotta have a little loopiness in there. Have a little fun.
I needed something other than that constant gray straight line, Mr. Brewer, you've been quiet.
I've been listening.
You realize you can interact as well, right? You don't have to just listen. You can listen on a podcast as a listener. In the room, you interact.
Well, I have a question.
Okay.
Oh, it's this question.
What's your question? Ask it to him first.
This is kind of just an annoying, stupid question. But so when we talk about, a good coping mechanism becoming bad, could you ever make prayer a bad coping mechanism?
Or like Paul, we would see a lightning strike come straight through this building, right? And vaporize her. No, you couldn't.
I don't think so either.
No.
You don't think so, huh?
No. I don't think there's anything
Scientifically speaking, okay, that shows that prayer has a negative effect on someone's health. They show the complete opposite.
I say you just can never have too much time with Jesus.
Yeah, man, there's the Sunday school answer.
Yeah,
Good job there, son.
Thanks.
And Paul is gearing up to tell us what he thinks about this topic here.
Wow.
Let's wrap him up
with an accent.
Let's wrap him up at a Confederate flag and throw him down by the border.
What does a Confederate flag have to do about this?
Your accent, South.
Sound like a little bit of white inbred. Okay, here's where.
He's gonna say.
Oh,
Jesus
you can't say nothing. Tell me prayer's bad. Prayer's good. Mind, soul, and body. Let's get me closer to the Lord.
My default reaction is to agree with that assessment.
Yeah. Now what are you gonna say?
After thinking about this for a minute, I can see a scenario in which it would be bad. And this is a scenario which I don't think neither of you two would have ever been in. So it never would have crossed your mind on how it could be bad. Okay.
Okay.
So let me explain this here. And see if you understand this, where my brain's going with this on how this could be bad. So you have someone suffering through depression or anxiety or something like that. Okay. Again, that screws with your mind hardcore when you're going through stuff like that. And normally when you're praying, you're bringing what's going on to God. You're asking, could you help me with this? Can I pray for this person? Thank you for these things. That's kind of your standard prayer formula, if that makes sense. Yes, following so far?
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes when you're in that darkness, let's say, yeah, you can pray to God and be like, God, this is what's happening right now. But instead of going, help me with this thing, and maybe listing off, what you're feeling is bad. Instead, what you do is you just continue that self-negative cycle. And yes, you're praying to God and you're asking him for help, but you're continuing that negative cycle in yourself. And you're saying, I am da-da-da, I am da-da-da. It's easy to get stuck in that negative cycle easily, where you're just constantly destroying yourself, basically, by the way you're thinking. So yes, in that sense, prayer is good because you're still going to God and saying, God, help me with this. But mentally, it can be bad because you're going to God and saying these things, and your brain is hearing it and just feeding on itself and taking you further down that despair chain. It sounds counterintuitive, I know, but it's also, again, like I said, sometimes when you're in that area, your brain doesn't work the same way as normal people's brains.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So it's a very fine comb, I guess you could say, where it could go bad. I would have to say 99.9999999%. I agree. Mm-hmm. It's those weird 0.00. Weird sounds bad. It's those, those circumstances 0.0001%. And right. I'll freely admit, when I was kind of in that midst there were times where it was not exactly the healthiest thing, because mentally I was going over that list again, but kind of out loud, and saying it out loud a little bit in a weird way kind of almost reinforces it.
Interesting.
Yeah. So,
I see where you're going with that.
Agree, disagree, Brewer? Head shakes do not translate into audio.
Both agree and disagree.
I'm gonna wear like a Mexican flag next week, and then put him in a Confederate flag.
Oh, that made me think of a news story that came up I saw earlier this week.
Wait.
Oh, boy.
You read the news?
Well, I saw someone post something on Facebook or share it.
So we kind of touched on some healthy ones, some unhealthy ones, some, answered. I forgot whose question. I think it was your question. Can prayer ever be a bad coping? Obviously that's my opinion. You guys don't have to agree with that. No one does. That's just my opinion on that one. But okay, this is going to sound like a weird question.
Okay.
What are maybe some coping mechanisms you want to develop?
Ooh, exercise.
You want to exercise as a coping mechanism?
Yeah.
So, in other words, what you're telling me is I need to get you angry so you go and exercise more?
Drumming on the drum set 4 hours a day. That's what you need to get back doing.
Well, that's after he buys his $3,000 drum set.
No, he's not going to actually play on it. He's going to put it inside a glass case and drool over it.
Oh, you best believe I'm playing that drum kit.
Actually, I believe more Brewer.
He just hasn't done it. He just hasn't done it to his guitars yet either.
Yeah. Okay. So that's when you would want to kind of work, maybe learn.
Yes.
What about you, Mr. Brewer? Do you got any that you kind of like? That would be a good coping mechanism to pick up.
Reading.
Interesting. Reading.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Especially about the areas, the topics that I'm interested in. Because I really only read kind of when I have to. But I'd like to use it as a way for me to learn more about something in a time that I almost kind of find myself bored in.
Yeah.
Instead of going to YouTube or video games, kind of go to more it's reading.
Okay.
It's a good one.
I'd have to say for me, I'd have to probably pick something like, how do you put this? Like meditation almost. Being able to quiet my mind without having to resort to external stimuli to quiet it for me. Because having to rely on external stimuli at all times is kind of sucks.
Right. Yeah, I can see that. Mm-hmm. I think another one I guess I'd like to bring back is walking, which I mean, that goes with exercise, I guess, but different.
Interesting. What about, and I've actually seen this with some people. I want to hear your opinion on this. People who get tattoos to cope with things. What?
Why?
Because the pain temporarily, of being stabbed thousands of times, temporarily takes their mind off of whatever.
That'd be expensive. Not necessarily, I guess, but...
Oh, no, it could get expensive.
I mean, it could, but I mean, I guess it depends on how long you want to feel that needle pricking you for. Then it's like, I don't know. I wouldn't want to, I guess, try and figure out what I would want as a tattoo on the fly like that. Because then I'll like it at first and be like, oh, sick. Then later I'll be like, why? Why did I do that?
Why did I do this now?
So, I mean, I guess if you're really just that okay with getting something put on your body that you just think of off the cuff, okay.
To be fair, it's a lot better than them going and saying, I'm going to start cutting myself. Yeah. So. Yeah.
I agree.
I guess like one of the weirdest coping mechanisms. So I found a list of weird coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
So one of them is they talk to their pillow.
Yeah, I did see that one.
Because pillows can't interrupt or give useless advice.
It's just like talking to a brick wall.
Yep. Picking at frozen oranges. Yeah, I know. So, I mean, there's just some weird ones. Holding ice in their mouth.
No, thank you.
You sure?
I would not want to do that. Why would I want to do that?
I don't know.
Dogs like to do it. Maybe you would.
But they just like to... Took me a second.
Reciting digits of pi.
Of pi?
How about eating pie?
Yeah, the number pi?
3.14, whatever.
Yeah, that never ends.
How do you know you're saying the right numbers?
They probably have the first X number memorized.
And it just repeats itself.
Oh, no. Pi never repeats itself. They probably repeat themselves. Pi doesn't repeat themselves.
Interesting.
They have not found the ending of pi yet. They've calculated up to I don't even know. I don't know if they've reached 1 million points yet of pi. It's been large.
So at one point you just stop
and let it be.
Yeah. Instead of wasting your money and resources on trying to figure out the end of pi.
Yeah, but they use pi in a lot of mathematical and other things. Oh, it's...
But if you can't change the first six digits after the decimal, then what's the point?
Well, maybe they need to get more refined for some of their calculations. One woman calculated up to 31 trillion digits so far.
How do you calculate pi?
Using... I'm sure they have a method. I don't know math like that, but...
Jesus. Yeah, Paul, explain this. How do you calculate pi?
I don't know.
You love math so much.
Yeah, or not. This person learned to crochet.
Yes, I saw. Okay, yep, that was one I'd seen.
Take cold showers.
I saw both cold or hot.
Clean.
Yep.
Clean themselves.
That'd be Amy.
Going to concerts.
That would be me.
Aaron.
This one I found counterintuitive, but it works for them. They give themselves less free time.
And just keeping yourself busy all the time.
Right. And the reason they say that is that their anxiety tends to be worse when they think about too much about the future.
Yep.
So they do this so they don't think about the future.
I feel like I could relate to that.
Yeah. But does that become a healthy thing then at that time?
I don't know. Probably not. Because then I get so distracted with what's going on, I never think ahead. So I would say that's probably more on the bad side. Because I know at work, like if I'm doing one job for a majority of the day and it's all easy to work at where I am. But like if I'm alone and not interacting with anybody, I notice I start to think a lot. It's not always a bad thing, but sometimes I can get into more just like, okay, maybe this isn't good. Or I just freak myself out too much because I think about too much. And then it's like, oh, well, as soon as I get done with whatever that job is I'm doing and I have to go see what's next, and I'm just like, okay, now I can distract myself by talking to people.
Yeah. and see, it's things like that where you think about, where you're saying where it's kind of freaking you out. That's what people then use the coping skills to.
Yeah.
Either they isolate or they do fun things.
Yeah. So, but I guess I would say if you keep yourself busy to the point where it's like you literally don't have time to do anything to help yourself in a way, then it's probably not that good.
Yeah. But keeping busy sometimes is fine, especially if you're like,
it can open
I need to do X stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you can work. You could sit there and worry all day while playing your video game. I need to clean my room. I need to do the laundry. I need to do this. Or you could be like, okay, I'm cleaning the room, but I still need to do the laundry and that, but I'm doing something right now.
Yeah.
You're getting something off that list.
That's fine.
That's when it becomes a healthier thing. So, but yeah, like I said, sometimes you just need to pull back a minute and relax.
Disconnect.
Yep. And that's not always an unhealthy thing. So.
Yeah, yeet.
Yeah, yeet.
Yeah, yeet.
I'm going to toss both you and Brewer down the south.
I didn't know yeah, yeet was a thing from the south.
No, it's not, but I'm just going to throw you down there because you're yeeting. It sounds like you're like, I don't know, riding a horse or something.
That would be a fun time. I'd like to go ride a horsey.
That's one I forgot off my list. I use sarcasm a lot.
For coping?
Yep. For everything.
It's true.
Because sarcasm is fun and nice.
It is. It can be.
But it can go over into that. Yeah. Where it makes people upset. Mr. Johnson, I'm going to let you have last at bats.
Last at bats?
Yeah.
Strike out. What the heck does that mean?
I'm going to go next. And that's what I said. You get to have last at bats.
Okay.
You're like, dang it. You're hoping to get out of that, aren't you?
I don't even know what I have to do.
Just if you have any final comments.
Yeah. No, okay, yeah.
As far as final comments from me, coping mechanisms provided that they're not used exclusively to escape from something, but to survive through something can be good. Obviously, there are the ones like drinking, which never are good coping mechanisms, period, because they either numb or try to replace those emotions that you're trying to survive through. Coping is not about forgetting what's going on, but about surviving what's going on. no matter how bad, how good, how crazy, how whatever it seems. So coping mechanism is that. And if you're trying to drink away the memory or the pain or the emotions, you're not coping. You're literally trying to forget it. And you're not dealing with it. And the problem's still going to be there when you get done with your drinking. And you're not going to enjoy it afterwards.
True.
So that's my last words. Mr. Johnson, you got some last words.
Oh, goodness. I mean, I guess it was mainly just you stole it. Took the words right out of my mouth. No, because I mean, I guess mainly is, depending on, whatever it is you're coping with, don't let your coping mechanism become, I guess, kind of as Josh said earlier, as an obsession to the point where you focus on more on that and then you start to separate from other people or whatever. I don't know, like when we talked about smoking.
Mm-hmm.
All I want to do is smoke because I enjoy it. Especially if you enjoy your coping mechanism, which you kind of do have to enjoy your coping mechanism.
Yeah, you kind of have to.
So, yeah, just, I guess.
No, you're going to do a coping mechanism. I hate cleaning. I'm going to cope by cleaning the room. I hate it.
Hey, that's how I can work on my anger. No, it's not it's not going to happen.
I hate playing guitar. I'm going to sit here and play for hours.
I'm playing guitar to cope with my other problems.
Yeah, and
I create a new one.
But I'm saying, you generally enjoy your coping mechanism.
So, I mean, just be, I guess, mindful in this. I guess if, I don't know, would people be like, hey, come up to you and if they thought your coping mechanism was starting to be harmful, I guess be mindful of that and think about it before you just shoot them down. Oh, no. I said the words. Anywho, no, I don't know. That's about it. That's all I can think of.
All right.
You got it all. Nailed it.
All right. Fair enough. To end it though, leave us comments on Facebook, on Stitcher, on iTunes, all those, it's Apple Podcasts now. All those places help. Share the latest episode. Share one that you like with someone that you think might enjoy this as well. Have either of you two listened to any more episodes of Reapcast?
A little bit.
I see Mr. Brewer over there shaking his head. Yeah, I was talking with Clay this week because they released their latest episode about what they wish they knew when they were younger. Did you start listening to that one? Just a little bit. Yeah, and I messaged him. I was like, hey, man, not to bust your balls or anything, but you might want to up the volume. And because I pulled it into the DAW, and when I pulled it in, DAW digital audio workstation, when I pulled it in, it came in at negative 25 LUFS, and you should be for a stereo format negative 16. So I was like, dude, bring it up a little bit. I brought it up myself. As soon as I brought it up, it was just so much easier to listen to. But that's not a deal breaker because guess what? You have a volume control. You can turn the volume up yourself on your phone in your car and all that. So
what?
I know. I know. You just listen to everything at full volume. It's okay.
Oh.
So
I thought that's how it always just went.
So if you enjoy what we do, give them a listen over at the Reapcast. And then we got a couple other fun things coming up in the future potentially September for sure.
Do you remember?
Yeah, exactly. And then whenever Josh gets married, that's going to be a fun event. We'll have to do something for that.
But that's a ways away yet.
Yeah, well, it's going to get here faster than anyone thinks.
You better be ready.
It's less than a year now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when it was decided it was still over a year away.
So it's going to get here faster than anyone thinks, but especially with Mr. Brewer over here returning to school.
I won't be going to school this year.
Not this year?
No, I'm banking a 95% chance I won't be going to school.
Weren't able to get into the program?
Well, yeah. And all the classes that I need to take for the first semester, there's 4 people in front of me on a wait list.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that's if everybody else has already set up their payment program. So even if they didn't set up their payment program and got booted out, that means at least 5 people have to be booted out of the class in order for me to slip in. So it just means I got to be ready to go right when it opens up for admissions in the spring. but it gives me a year. Yeah, about a year to save up.
There you go. So that way you can get right into class. You know, nothing says yay like going to school for a semester and then getting married.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I wouldn't be going to school till next fall.
Oh, okay.
I see what you're saying. Into the registration.
I was thinking you were gonna
be
able to go in the spring semester.
No, fall. It only starts in fall. It's the only time you can start. So you have to wait a whole year if you miss it.
So you get married and then go to school.
So watch, it's gonna open up the week of his honeymoon is when the registration opens up.
Rough.
And if he's going on a cruise, he'll miss it again.
Oh no, the cruise is August, so we'll be good.
Oh, okay. So you're going on a delayed honeymoon.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. As long as the wife approves.
Well, factoring in school times, factoring in the ship that we want to go on, as well as the destinations at a price range we didn't want to have to be gouged for. That's when we had to go. Yep. It's really interesting to see the price differences.
But it's the same for all travel. That'll be Josh's future coping mechanism. He'll go, yes, dear.